Joining us right now on the KDAWN live line from Ventura Web Design, Kevin Richards. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, good morning, Alan. Sounds like you're having an amazing time out there, as always.
Always. It's always nice to be out here. They're nice hosts and they're great people out here, and it's just a fun place to be. So, we're having an absolutely great time. So I wanted to chat with you. Last week you were vacationing down in Huntington Beach, California. You lucky dog. And
it was amazing.
Always is. It's a great place to vacation. We lived there at one time years ago for a few years, so it's a nice place. All right, I want to talk a little bit about hackers and about stuff going on with people on their website. Basically, I want to talk about how you protect yourself at home and work from hackers. Now, let me get into this first thing, which I'm not that familiar with, but I know it's called phishing, but it's a PH on the phishing. What is that? What does that mean, and what does that do?
Right. Well, when I was doing some research this week to get prepared for this segment, of course, and we came across some information. I'm an e-commerce guy, and a lot of the hacking actually comes out of a country called Nigeria. And Nigeria is now holding a conference to actually promote e-commerce. They're trying to kind of change their reputation. So that kind of got me interested. There's a thing called a Nigerian 419 scam, and that kind of leads into something called phishing. And what phishing is all about is you'll get an email that talks about, oh, you've won some money, or, oh, we can give you a lot of money if you just reship a particular product, or if you accept some money and give it to somebody else for us, you can have a small percentage, which is always $1 million or $100,000. But the point of the phishing scam is that it gives you, or you're giving access to your financial information directly to the hackers, or worse, you're sending money directly to them.
Right. So that's like this. I've had these emails for years that, you know what, I was a general in this army, and I left, and I took with me, $100 million, and I want to give you part of it. Somebody has to like to give you part of it. All you have to do is just reply to this email, and then it gets the process going. And of course, I never have responded, because why would a general anywhere contact me that got $100 million? So I knew right off the bat that was kind of a phony scam. Why Nigeria?
I think it's because their laws are lenient. They don't have good enforcement. Certainly, it's best if somebody's going to be scamming somebody in America, it's best for them to be offshore and away from the enforcement that we have here in the United States.
Really? Okay. I mean, a lot of places it could happen. I for some reason, I would have never thought. Nigeria just didn't pop up in my mind as a place that people should be concerned about. But I guess that's true. I guess some of these letters I had, these emails, were from generals that were from Nigeria or some other place in Africa. And I mean, looked at it and laughed and went, "Yeah, right." And I imagine there are people who have responded. So
yeah, what they typically do is they get together in internet cafes, and they're just sending as many emails as they can, finding email addresses, sharing them within the group, and it only takes one for them to make some money.
So they go to these internet cafes, and the result of that is that they you can't trace these people.
Exactly. It makes it much more difficult to find them. One of the other things they'll do is in the emails they will try to send you what's called a Trojan horse. And
what is a Trojan horse?
What that means is it's basically a virus, and if you click on it, if they'll send it to you as an attachment, here's some information on the offer, and you click on that, you open the attachment, and if you're not adequately protected on your side with antivirus software, you are going to end up having potentially a keystroke logger on your computer, where everything you type in will be logged and sent to the hackers directly, so they're going to have direct access to your banking information and email and everything else they could want.
All right, to wit, a Trojan horse. That makes sense to me. Now, if I have, we're trying to establish, we have Wi-Fi at the house. I haven't quite used it yet, but if you use wireless internet at your house, how do you protect yourself? And I'm concerned about other people, hacking onto it.
The most important thing you've got to do is do the basics. You need to secure that network with a password. And you'd be surprised at how many people fail to do that. When Google was driving around, we have a couple Google cars that drive through Las Vegas and Henderson and Boulder City, and they're mapping and taking pictures for their street view. And along with that, a couple of years ago, it was discovered that they were also mapping Wi-Fi locations and also accessing those networks. So if you didn't have a password on your home Wi-Fi and they drove down your street, they were accessing your home network.
Yeah, when I set up my new Mac, I looked at the Wi-Fi, and then we plugged in our direct connection to Cox, so we're not on Wi-Fi. But when I was only on for a few minutes, then I noticed a lot of my neighbors' names popped up, and I could have gone onto their accounts.
Exactly. You'll see a lot more of those Wi-Fi networks popping up. You can actually have Wi-Fi networks in certain cars now. Wi-Fi is everywhere. That's the way of the future. And I don't know if you saw, there's actually the potential to hack vehicles now.
No, I didn't know that. Oh, this is great. All right, stay with me a second, and we'll talk more about that and much more. Kevin Richards, Ventura Web Design, joining me as we broadcast live from the Emerald Island Casino. Go to allenstock.com. And while you're there, on the right-hand side of the page, you'll notice it says Ventura Web Design, and that's where you can find more out about contacting Kevin Richards, who, by the way, is joining us right now on the KDAWN Live line. You were telling us that it's possible to actually hack into car Wi-Fis now. Is that what you said?
That is what I said. The more technologically advanced your vehicle is, the more susceptible it is to being hacked into. Obviously, when you've taken your car into the dealership to have some work done, you've seen them plug in with those machines, and a lot of the work on your car is done via computer now. And so, obviously, the more computer-driven your car is, the more susceptible it is, and more open it is to people doing things to it for you.
And you know what? Never thought of that before. I really never thought of that before. That is so weird. I don't do that stuff with my car, but I do. I have Bluetooth, and I use that for my calls. Can they hack into that too?
Of course, anything that gives them access to your internal system is what lets them in. And what some of the researchers found from it was University of Washington and University of California, San Diego. They found that they could activate the brakes. They could they could jerk the steering wheel. They could tighten the driver's seatbelt.
What?
They could change the speedometer. Anything that your car does, any activity, any function that your car has that's controlled by computer could potentially be controlled by somebody else. And the trick is you don't want that to be happening as you're driving down the road.
Well, how do you stop that then?
Unfortunately, you don't have a lot of control over that one right now. That one's going to be up to the auto manufacturers to make sure that they're securing their systems. But at home, obviously, you have a couple different things you can do to protect yourselves and certainly in your business as well. From the other things we were talking about earlier, like don't click on links that you don't recognize, don't open email attachments that you weren't expecting, and
right.
And importantly, change your password. A lot of people forget to do this. They have passwords from 10 years ago, and if somebody has compromised your system and your password is out there, it's just a matter of time before they get around to actually using it. So if you change your password regularly, you make yourself less open for that kind of attack.
Great point. Real quickly, I want to get to Kathy Jung and the pet pick in a moment, but I've heard of keystroke logging. How does that work, and what's that all about?
Basically what that is when you get a computer set up and you plug in a USB stick that will log the keystrokes, or worse, you've clicked on a link or opened an attachment, and that information is actually being captured and sent to a remote location. And the trick there is they figure out where they're logging into. Say you're logging into your bank account or you're logging into your email, and then they get the login that follows and the password that follows, and they've got everything they need as if they were just looking right over your shoulder.
All right, how do you prevent that from happening then?
Just want to make sure that you have some antivirus software installed. You can get McAfee or Norton. If you have a PC, you definitely want to have the Microsoft Security Essentials installed. Just got to make sure you keep those things up to date. Don't use old internet browsers. If you're using IE 6, 7, or 8, you need to upgrade that. A lot of people like to hold on to old technology, and it's that old technology that's been around that people have had time to figure out how to hack, and you really got to stay one step ahead of those hackers to protect yourself.
One of the many reasons that I went to Mac, by the way, they're supposed to be much more secure, and I am thrilled with my new Mac. So we'll talk about some of those issues between PC and Mac next week. I definitely want to explore some of that because I've gone through some big changes, and I want to share that with you. So we'll do that next Friday, all right?
Very good.
Kevin Richards, Ventura Web Design. Find out more about Ventura Web Design by clicking on the icon Ventura Web Design on the allenstock.com page. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Alan. Have a great weekend.
You too, and we'll talk to you again next week.